Hi everyone, welcome back. This video and its subsequent parts are going to be a little bit different than what we've done before. So far, we've been taking a look at each database one at a time, but this time we are going to lump 50 together. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, and it is, but the reason we're doing this is because they are all going to look very, very similar. Each of these databases is owned by EBSCO, and for most of its databases, EBSCO makes the layout exactly the same. You probably will notice that some EBSCO databases are a little bit different, and we did actually have a Small Business Reference Center a few videos back, which was a bit different from the layout we'll be seeing this time. I'm going to first go over the general EBSCO layout, and in subsequent videos, I'm going to talk about each of the databases and what kinds of information and resources they contain. Let's get started. Once again, we're going to begin by starting on our homepage at countylibrary.org. From eLibrary, at the top menu, we'll click on Research Databases. It doesn't matter which EBSCO database we use, so we're just going to use the first EBSCO database in this list, which is down here in Business and Careers. Let's click on Business Abstracts. We are going to ignore the content of this database because that's for another video. Let's instead focus on the structure. This is the homepage of every EBSCO database of this set. Let's look at each of the parts of this page. Up at the top left, we have New Search, Publications, Thesaurus, and Indexes, which are all useful for narrowing down what resources you want to search and what words you want to search for. Over on the other side, at the top right, we have Sign In, Folder, Preferences, Languages, and Help. All menu options about viewing and saving information in EBSCO. Further down in the center of the page, we have the main search bar. And even further down, we have additional search options. Let's start from the top. And up here at the top left. New Search is a link to this same page, so it functions as a home menu option. After New Search, we have Publications, so let's click on that. This is a page that lists the publications that this particular database is pulling from when you search. This is helpful if you're looking for a specific publication and want to look through complete issues rather than isolated articles. Because we're in a business database right now, we're seeing a lot of business journals. Let's take a look at some of these listings before we move on. I'm going to focus specifically on ABA Bank Marketing right now. First, we have the title, and directly below this, we have dates indicating how far back the collection extends and how current it is. The words PDF full text and HTML full text exist to indicate what format the text is available in. But to find the most updated information, it's best to just click on the title and see the full list of what is available. As we can see on this page, for example with AAII Journal, some of the records will have less information than others, but most of them will at least have a date range. Let's go ahead and click on ABA Bank Marketing. On the left here, we have more detailed information about the publication. There's the title once again, and then the International Standard Serial Number, or ISSN, Next, we have the name and address of the publisher of this publication. In this case, the American Bankers Association publishes this journal, the ABA Bank Marketing publication. Moving on, we have a list of past titles for this publication, and if EBSCO has those older titles, you'll see the blue link to those titles. And further down, we have the date ranges again. Next is the publication type, and in this case, ABA Bank Marketing is a trade publication for the banking trade. Subject just below lists subjects related to this publication. Publisher URL gives you a link that will take you to the publisher's website and frequently tells us how many times per year this publication is printed, which in this case is 10 times per year. Finally, it tells us whether or not this publication is peer-reviewed, which it is not. Let's take a look on the right-hand side. Here we see all of the dates available for us to look through. Because this publication once had other titles, you can click on Current Title Only here to show only the titles that were published under the name ABA Bank Marketing. Clicking back on All Issues, we can click on each year to expand and look at individual issues. But we're not going to continue past this point. So let's now look at this Share option here over to the far right. Clicking on it shows us 3 options. We can set up email alerts, so we'll get an email if and when something new is added to this journal in particular. We can also set up RSS feed notifications. Don't worry about this though, because you'd need an account with EBSCO to set up this type of alert, and that's not something you can really do here. Finally, there's the permanent link, which, to be clear, is not the link that you'll find in your browser window up here. You can copy and paste this link so you can get to it later. Here on the left, all the way to the left, we can scroll by checking Previous Record or Next Record to keep following along the alphabetical list of publications without having to return to the entire list. So if we were to click Previous Record, we see that journal that we saw above ABA Bank Marketing. Let's go back by clicking the Back button up here by the EBSCO host logo. Now let's look at how we can go about browsing through and searching this list of publications. We can scroll through the alphabetical list here, further and further down, and we can use the Next and Previous options to look around at each page of results. If you want to move faster towards publications beginning with a certain letter, you can click on any letter in the alphabet here to skip to that section. Clicking on H, as an example, we now see publications beginning with the letter H. Let's now take a look at the search options for this publications section. We have 3 settings: alphabetical, by subject and description, and match any words. Let's type in marketing as an example. And let's keep the option on alphabetical. We can now hit the Enter key, or as I'm going to do now, click Browse. We now see a list of publications, starting with publications with marketing as the first word in their title. Because we have selected alphabetical, we are not shown other publications with marketing in the title if the word marketing doesn't appear first. However, if we scroll down, we'll start to see titles that don't have marketing in the title. For example, Mass Transit is the first one after Marketing Week. Let's scroll back up and let's search for marketing when we click by subject and description. Here we see many publications, all of which so far have marketing somewhere in the title. However, not all of these will necessarily have marketing in their title. If we advance a few pages forward, we see a journal down here called B2B, which of course doesn't have the word marketing anywhere. However, this is a subject and description search. So if we click on this publication, and if we scroll down, we see marketing in both the subject and in the description. Let's click this back button again to go back. And let's now click on Refine Search to go back to that search we had. By default, it places the search back on alphabetical. But right now, we're going to click on Match Any Words. And we're going to keep the word marketing and click Browse. As we can now see, Match Any Words will search for the word marketing anywhere in the title, but it has to be somewhere in the title. It's not going to find marketing if it's listed in the description or subject list, so this is a more narrow search than the by subject and description search, even though Match Any Words does sound rather broad. Again, let's click on Refine Search to go back to the main page of publications. And if we want to clear this search, we'll just delete off our search terms and click Browse. And we're back at square one. Now that we've looked at publications, let's go back to the top menu and click on Thesaurus. When databases like EBSCO organize their articles and publications and assign keywords and subjects, they do their best to use consistent words, phrases, and spellings to make searching easier. The Thesaurus helps you find those words. Let's now look down below at the first term as our example. Here we have A&I services, which, as we can see here, stands for Abstracting and Indexing Services. You could technically type in A&I services in the search bar and probably find some relevant results, but EBSCO is saying that using the full phrase, Abstracting and Indexing Services, will produce more results. Also, if you click on any of the blue highlighted words, which are the preferred words, you are taken to that word's place in the A to Z list, so you can find similar items. Let's try that. And we have been taken to Abstracting and Indexing Services and the words that follow it in alphabetical order. I'm going to click on Thesaurus at the top again to go back. So the Thesaurus can be very helpful when you're trying to search for something, because you may not find what you're looking for if you're using words that the database isn't using. Now, let's try the search. Let's keep term begins with, and again type marketing, and click Browse. Again, we have an alphabetical list of terms. As we can see by the word marketing here in blue, it turns out that marketing as a search term is what EBSCO wants us to use. However, if we wanted to search marketing-decision making, we would receive better results using decision making in marketing. I'm going to go back to this search and click on term contains, and clicking browse, still using marketing. Now we have a non-alphabetical list, but all of these terms have the word marketing in them. We can also see that each word has a white checkbox to the left and sometimes to the right. We're going to go over that in a bit. For now, let's go back to this search and let's click on Relevancy Ranked. We see what appears to be a very similar list that we saw before, but this is organized based on what EBSCO has ranked as the most relevant results from a search for marketing. This may help most if you're looking for words related to your search. Let's take a closer look into these results. You know how when we clicked the word highlighted in blue, it took us to the new terms place in the alphabetical list so we could see related terms? Well, it's a bit different right now. Because we are not being given suggestions for other more appropriate terms, when we click any of these blue links, which we know are all terms that EBSCO recognizes as official, so to speak, in their Thesaurus, we are going to see more detailed information about each term. So let's click on marketing and take a look. This scope note here explains the general idea of marketing and what it relates to. It really doesn't define it as much as it tells you a bit about what to expect is related to marketing. Just below it, we have a list of broader terms, and in this case, it's just one broader term: industrial management. Also, we see narrower terms, which are all related terms, specifically about marketing. Clicking on any one of these blue links will take you to the listing for that term. And if we scroll and scroll and scroll, we will get to other related terms. Also, we have a used for section, which lists some other terms. Let's scroll back up. Do take note of the white checkboxes that we are seeing all around here. We're not going to look at the checkboxes on this page, but we are going to go back to the results list and take a look at how they work. Now, let's click Back to List right here to go back. And here, we're at the Relevancy Ranked results list for marketing. Now that we have looked at the search options in the Thesaurus, let's now take a look at this option. Select term, then add to search using, and we see a drop down right here. When you're searching with these terms, EBSCO allows you to build on a search using the terms it provides. This is where those checkboxes come in. If we want to search with both marketing and internet marketing, we'll click on the checkboxes for those two terms. And then, if we look back at this option, we're going to see that we have three choices in the drop-down menu. The default, which is or, then and not. If you're familiar with Boolean operators, then you know how these will work in your search. In short, however, or means you want to search internet marketing or marketing, so it doesn't matter which term you find. And means you want to search for marketing and internet marketing, and you want to find both terms. And finally, not means you want to search for marketing, but you do not want to find internet marketing in your results. Let's just try or to see how this works. Because we have our two terms selected, let's click on Add. Nothing has changed on the main part of the page, but what did change was the search box here at the top. This is the search box to search for articles, and it's the main search for all of the EBSCO databases. For each EBSCO database, you're going to find a search bar that looks exactly like this. And here we can see that it automatically updated and put these two terms in the search box in a language that the search system understands. I wouldn't worry too much about how the search here is set up, just that it does now have marketing or internet marketing here. And you can click the green search button to find results. Let's look at one more thing before we move on from the thesaurus. Apart from the left-hand checkboxes, we also have checkboxes under the Explode label. This just means that all the terms listed under the term over here to the left will also be included. Remember that really long list of related terms that we saw for marketing? This Explode option is going to include all of those. Let's try it. And we can see when we click Add, it has now included all of them. This finishes our look into the thesaurus. Now, let's look up here at indexes at the very top, and let's click on it. This is a simple page, and first we must choose the index that we want to see. We have index options of author, document type, ISSN, journal name, language, NAICS code or description, subject terms, and year of publication. Once you have selected one of these, we're just going to select subject terms. You can go ahead and click on Browse if you don't have specific keywords that you want to search. We're not going to put in anything in particular, so let's go ahead and click Browse. Here we still have the search options for this index section right here. And if we look a bit down, we have the previous and next options. And we also have the option to build onto a search using the checkboxes that we saw just a minute ago. Finally, we have the actual list of index terms. This functions almost exactly like an index in the back of a book, except instead of telling you the location of the keywords, it tells you how often they appear in this entire database. These, such as A&A Contract Customs Brokers Limited, is a very specific term. So the mentions throughout this database are quite low. As we can see, this just has one. Let's now search for the subject term marketing and click Browse. And because this is the Business Abstracts database, we see marketing is mentioned as a subject term over 78,000 times. This index can help maximize or narrow down the results of your search by helping you figure out what to search for. Let's now go back up to the top again and click on New Search to go back to the home page. Now we're going to take a look at the next menu up here at the top right-hand corner. This lists Sign In, Folder, Preferences, Languages, and Help. You can ignore Sign In because you're sort of already signed in with your library card, and Sign In is just going to prompt you to create an account, which won't work right anyways. Folder, which we'll click on, is a holder for anything that you save for later. We see on the left here that we have a section for articles, images, videos, companies, pages, ebooks, audiobooks, notes, other content sources, persistent links to searches, saved searches, search alerts, journal alerts, and web pages. We'll see later how to save items to this folder. Keep in mind, however, that once you leave this session and log out, you won't be able to access saved items. You can keep them in here as long as you're working on EBSCO, but do save them with the permalink. Again, we'll see this option later. Let's now go back up to this menu and click on Preferences at the top. This gives you several options for how to display the information that we'll see throughout these databases. You have General Settings. Languages allows you to change the language of the site and its menus. You can also turn autocomplete for your search suggestions on or off. By default, it is on, but if you don't want to see search suggestions, just click off. Also on by default is the Smart Text Search, which is just a program that will attempt to search for something like your initial search in the relatively unlikely event that the initial search doesn't produce any search results. Again, that's rare, but the more specific your search, the more it is a possibility. Next is the section to choose the display settings for the results list. By default, this is set to Detailed, which means you'll see the most information that you can actually see without actually clicking on each result. However, you can set it to Standard, Title Only, or Brief to see less information. Page Layout lets you control how much you see on the page. As we'll see later, you'll have several columns in the search results page, up to 3. This is the option where you can limit it to a column on the left, right, and center, to the left and center, to the center and right, and just one column down the center. A bit below, Image Quick View allows you to view thumbnails of any images that pop up during a search. It's on by default, but you can turn it off. Hint, if you were to click it, just pops up a small explanation of what the Image Quick View is. We also have Sort By options, which determines in what order you see the search results. There are 2 options, Relevance and Database Default. Relevance is somewhat like how Google orders its results, and Database Default is based on how the database itself has it organized. Finally, for this section, you can change the results that you see per page, and that may be 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, or 50. Finally, we have Print, Email, and Save Export options, which are just different ways to save the information that we find after a search. It's automatically set on Standard Field Format, right here. And this miniature drop-down menu lets you choose from more options. You can, however, also choose a citation format with this option, and you can use this drop-down to choose between different citation formats like APA or MLA. You can also click the Customized Field Format here at the bottom. Just below, you can put in your email so that you can send article information to yourself, and you can change the format of the emails. To the right, you have two other options to change the format in which you save citations or receive emails. This may seem like a lot, but keep in mind that many of these save settings can often be changed once you've actually chosen a document you want. And there's always the option for just copying and pasting for most of these things. You may not even have to change these settings for most purposes. Let's now click Cancel rather than Save, and let's look at the top right menu again. If we hover over languages, we have quite a few language options in the drop-down. This is the same as the language option that we saw in Preferences. Finally, we have the Help section. If we click on this, another window will open with the Help section. It's rather too long to read before using the EBSCO databases, but it's an excellent resource if you have specific questions about certain parts of EBSCO's databases. Finally, let's click on New Search again to go back to the home page. Today, we covered the two menus at the top. The left-hand menu that includes New Search, Publications, Thesaurus, and Indexes, as well as the right-hand menu that includes Sign In, Folder, Preferences, Languages, and Help. Next time, we're going to start with the search bar and learn about searching in EBSCO databases. Thanks for watching the first part of our look into the library selection of EBSCO databases. Next time, we're going to pick up where we left off and keep going. See you next time. Bye.